Okay, we've got some Xzibit, and I'm thinking that the return, he's got a mixtape coming out today called Serial Killers, The Murder Show, and I figured, well, let's shed a little bit more light on some of his albums. Now, you should know at around 2004 when this came out, he was doing Pimp My Ride, but this was also a point where he kind of started getting stationed on his own. So people started recognizing him on television, but music-wise, he lost a lot of ground because Dr. Dre, Snoop, Eminem, all these guys did not return for his 2004 album. But the good part is who gives a shit, because this album was good without them. It would have benefited, but I'm not missing them as much as I originally was. So what you get here is kind of like a West Coast tasting album that still has a bit of that underground flavor. And I'm going to let you know that this is not a mainstream commercial album. It has production choices that are way left field and are going to not work for a lot of people's ears right off the bat. A lot of people will say this is his weakest album, and that isn't true. You simply have to retune your frequency for what you think is good music. And that's hard to do. I mean, when I first listened to this, I didn't like this album either. But a lot of these are just low key kind of sleepers. This is basically a sleeper album. So, can you smoke to this? The answer is yes, you can. I'd say Hey Now, LAX, Ride or Die, Tough Guy are some great ones to smoke to. And I'd also say Saturday Night Live. The production, now this is kind of the thing about, there's 14 songs, and a few of them kind of plot along. Back the Way It Was, Back to the Way It Was, Judgment Day, Motherfucker, Cold World. These are a few duds, but there's also some pretty gnarled rock sounding songs like LAX and Hey Now that are really good. Ride or Die is a pretty smooth one. Saturday Night Live sounds like real kind of dizzy sounding. Beware of Us is a real smooth beat. We'll just talk about the unheard songs. So I like 6 out of 14 songs automatically. LAX and Hey Now, two of the best songs on here. It didn't take me long to like those. And Hey Now is really strange because it has a hook from an R&B singer, but it's not about like wooing the ladies as much. It's really kind of like a fuck you track or something like that. You're gonna have to listen to it. It's strange. I like the way that the approach on the song went. And Beware of Us, the hook might take a little getting used to, but it's a great song. Criminal Set's kind of a sleeper. Ride or Die, that sounds like some West Coast stuff. And then Tough Guy with Busta Rhymes really sounds like you're already bent for the night. So those are all some ballistic ones. And the two almost songs, there is more. Saturday Night Live, I mean, I wanted to get this review up, but I'm thinking, months down the road, I will probably end up liking this song. And then Clack, that one was a little bit tougher to distinguish, but I'm thinking it may or may not happen. So 8 out of 14 is rather good, but I still am unsure if I'm going to like it. So I'm going to give this album a 5.5 out of 10. Just because if I like more, I'll give it like a 6.5. But for now, I'm just going to give it a 5.5 and assume that, 6 out of 14 is less than half, but the two ones pending could up the score. So 5.5 out of 10. The Future Xzibit just dropped a mixtape today But Be Real from Cypress Hill, and then Demrick, and Is This Album Social? Now I'm going to give it a 4 social, just because there's not a lot of guests on here that people are going to know. I don't know how many people know about Jelly Roll, and Busta Rhymes is like the only other person, but it's kind of West Coast, but the production is just not explosive enough to have people saying that this is as good as Eminem or Snoop Dogg. So, yeah, I'm thinking that, can it be topped? Yeah, it can, but this was still a surprise hit for me. So I give this album a 5.5 out of 10 and a 4 social, knowing that if I like those other songs, the score is higher.